Woodhouse Lane Recycling Centre in Altrincham, Greater Manchester. Here, Sarah is on the hunt for a piece of junk to fire up her rejuvenation imagination. Is there any loot lurking in Gail's boot?
So what are you dropping off today then?
Well, there's an old microscope, which I was given some time ago. It's a ×10 microscope.
So that looks like a pretty powerful piece of kit. What do you do with it?
Well, I'm an ecologist, but for my spare time I like to look at water beetles from ponds and things.
Okay.
And this was given to me so that I could do that, but I've got myself a nice new one.
So how old do you think that is?
No, it must be 60s, I would have thought. Looks it, doesn't it?
There's something about it. Looks
60s.
like a frog, doesn't it? Look at it.
Does,
It's great.
Yeah.
Sarah's upcycling expertise could be put under the microscope with this item.
Is it something that, rather than putting it into the small appliance tip, I could take away and do something with?
Definitely.
Brilliant. And I'm seeing the copper pipe next to it. So what was that from?
That was just left over from when I had some central heating put in that the plumber never took away. And it's one of those things you think, oh, might use it one day. And
Yeah.
I never did.
So you've had that for a while then as well?
Yeah, in the
Excellent.
shed and then in the garden, so yeah.
Well, what I might do is definitely take the microscope away and have a look at that. And oddly, might keep that with it.
Taking it away might be easier said than done.
Did you say it's quite heavy?
It is quite heavy, yes.
Okay. Oh my word. Lead, do you think?
I think it probably is, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I will say thank you very much. And I'll keep in touch.
All right.
What does Gail think Sarah might do with her rubbish dump goodies?
I have no idea what she's going to do with it. No idea. She can make a water fountain out of the copper.
She's laughing, but Sarah just might, you know. However, I think she's more taken with the microscope.
Don't you just love it? A scientific instrument? I've never had one of those before. I think it looks wonderful. It's retro, it's chunky, it's metallic, it's got little knobs on it. Something fabulous is going to come out of this, isn't it?
Sarah knows just the fella for this challenge. Meet Mark Haig, robo-sculptor. Mark creates one-of-a-kind robots using vintage and second-hand materials, something he's been up to since he was knee-high to a nanobite.
My dad was a clock repairer, and I would sit in front of a 3-bar electric fire as a 7-year-old kid, and I'd get some bits of clocks from my dad, and I'd make some kind of mad robot. And 40 years later, I'm still doing the same stuff. I enjoy the process of actually finding something, just walking past the skip, and I'll see something in the skip, and I'll think, that's perfect, and I can make something out of that. And I'll combine it with some other things that I've found or I've bought from car boot sales or wherever, and I'll make a sculpture.
Will the microscope capture Mark's imagination? Manchester. The city is an architectural mashup. Its industrial past and cutting-edge present collide to create an offbeat beauty, much like the goings-on in this workshop. The inventor of these steampunk automatons is Mark. He's turned his childhood passion for making robots into a thriving business. And I think they're bringing out the big kid in me. They're great. Sarah is on her way to Mark's workshop with the microscope and copper pipes.
Hopefully she's bought me something nice, vintage looking, something that says robot to me. Hopefully it's something nice I can work with.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, Sarah.
How are you doing? Hold on, let me get that.
Is it heavy?
It is heavy. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Nice
How are
to
you?
see you. Yeah, really
And you?
well. I come with gifts.
And this as well.
Yeah.
Wow. OK.
What do you think?
I think it's lovely.
The microscope has certainly caught Mark's eye. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited about this one.
See, that's
That is
what made me think of you.
Definitely. I'm glad you bought me something symmetrical. I like symmetry.
that helps, doesn't it? Because that really helps with the form of the robots, doesn't it?
Yeah. This, obviously, that is the head. So we need a body
Yep.
of a commensurate size, and then a nice pair of legs. So I imagine the robot's going to end up something like that kind of size.
I think that sounds like it's going to be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you make lots of robots that are just good looking. Can you think of something that make them useful as well?
I'd like a robot, a laser beam sword, and a hyperspace time travel distortion ray, please.
The two functions that I use is either A as an iPod dock.
Right.
The second option is lighting.
Ah well, music player or lamp it is.
I think that I see quite a lot of lighting. But I don't see quite as many things that are useful for music.
Okay.
And so I think it'd be good with you maybe to concentrate on music.
Giving it a purpose ups the sell-on value and the potential profit. But to manufacture electrical items for sale, they need to comply with UK safety regulations. Fortunately, Mark's a qualified electrical engineer.
It's difficult to imagine exactly how it's going to look, but can you put a price on roughly how it'll be?
So all in cost-wise for the parts, probably talking 130, and then maybe 150 quid for my labour.
Okay.
Which makes 280. So if I did you a deal at 250, how's that sound?
It sounds very interesting. I think 250, it's going to be unique, original and handmade.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't give you any trouble. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I can't wait to meet my new robot. He's got a lovely personality. I don't know what his name is, but he sounds like he's going to be exciting.
Mark's all-in price of £250 gives Sarah plenty of scope for profit. My only concern is what happens if our little robot friend turns out to be an evil bot intent on destroying the world with his hyperspace time travel distortion ray. Oh no, what have we done? In Manchester, at Mark's workshop. The business of transforming this little microscope into the best little robot this world has ever seen is getting underway. The copper pipe picked up at the tip is being set aside, and Mark will choose body parts from his treasure trove of bits and bobs.
I start the design process by figuring out what's going to work in a sort of scale situation. So I have lots of things around that will act as bodies. It's sort of the wrong scale. The head gets lost a little bit.
Mark scours car boot sales, scrapyards and charity shops all over the north of England to find items that capture his imagination. This vintage electrical timer was found in a car boot sale 18 miles outside of Manchester.
So as we put that in there, you can see that the scale of the head and the body kind of works for me. I always write a story for each robot, and as we go through the process, little hints will come in, like the fact he's from Merseyside, the body's from Merseyside, so it might be a Scouse robot. And so all these different things will work into the story of the robot. So he's a Scouse electrician, 70 years old. Now he is employed as a DJ in Grimsby.
I think it's time to give my little friend a funky DJ name.
He's Wonky-Eyed Joe.
Wonky-Eyed Joe? I was hoping for something a little cooler than that. Microbot or Scopatron or Star Slider. Old Wonky Eyes is about to have a sore neck too.
That went very well. It's a nice straight cut.
Joe's microscope head needs to be secured to his electricity timer body. The timer's casing is made of Bakelite, an early form of plastic which was used to insulate electrical goods. It's very fragile, so Mark will need to be... Oh, too late.
That's why I hate this stuff. It's Bakelite was the precursor to plastic of 1950s. A lot of this stuff didn't actually survive because it's so brittle, it would just break. So there's actually a crack along the Bakelite there. So when I'm drilling this hole, I'm going to have to be really careful that I don't actually make that crack worse and make the thing snap in half. So I'm just going to take it really slow.
Slow and steady, Mark, slow and steady. Don't you fret, my wonky-eyed friend. Everything will be all right. In Manchester, at Mark's workshop of robotic wonders, wonky-eyed Joe is having his bolts tightened in preparation for Sarah's arrival.
Well, I've come to see Mark and to meet the robot of my dreams. I think he's going to be tall, good-looking, probably quite intelligent because he's made from a microscope. Do you ever feel like you're being watched?
Never mind wonky-eyed, I'm starry-eyed with excitement to meet my mechanical mate. He's fantastic. Using the microscope Sarah found as a starting point, Mark has used other salvaged items to make this cool and quirky robot. Joe has been carefully crafted to ensure that all the disparate elements sit in robotic harmony. He stands atop a vintage speaker which now works as a smartphone music player. Joe is a weird and wonderful delight.
Mark?
Hello, Sarah, how are you?
Wow, I'm really well. Lovely to see you.
It's lovely to see you. Meet wonky-eyed Joe.
He is amazing.
Thank you.
Hasn't he got... Is it he?
Yeah, it's a he, I think. He's got his own little story. So...
Talk me through the story. Thank you for adopting me.
I make up a story for each robot.
So what? Let me read it. Oh, he's had an interesting life. Never feed him eggs Benedict.
He's obviously a DJ because he's got the headphones on. And he is a fully functioning iPod dock.
No way.
So you plug your phone in there, play some music.
Hey, I recognise that tune. It's got a good toe-tapping beat. Joe is not only a music player, he has also had a radio tuner fitted.
Did it give you any trouble? Because I can see all of our microscope in there. How did you get on building
I think the hardest thing was that this part here was the thing that it fitted in with the aesthetics and the period of this piece. But it's made from Bakelite and it's very, very brittle. So I basically had to build a sort of skeleton inside this to make sure that everything held together.
So there's a lot of work that's gone on inside
that was
there.
the big work. That was the largest amount of work, getting that sorted out.
And did that affect budget? Because I think it was 250 quid to construct something like this, but, you know, I think you've gone way over the top, haven't you?
Yeah, but I'm happy with that. It's fine, absolutely fine.
And are you pleased with him? Because I think he is, you know, like, really packing it in there with personality, with all the stuff he does. Are you pleased with how he turned out? I'm
very, very pleased with him. I think this is one of the best ones I've ever built.
Lovely. Well, somebody's going to have a lot of fun with him, and I hope we're going to make a little bit of money, because I cannot wait to show the woman who used to use these, you know, identifying beetles.
Yeah.
To show her this. It's going to be great. Well, Mark has really managed to pack in the personality. He's given him good looks, he's beautiful, he's useful, and I reckon that means he's going to sell.
When she first met Sarah, Gail had a trunk full of junk.
So what are you dropping off today, then?
An old microscope.
The scientific instrument certainly caught Sarah's eye.
Is it something that, rather than putting it into the small appliance tip, I could take away and do something with?
Definitely, yes.
Sarah is super excited to show Gail how her microscope became a mega cool bot. After Sarah shared photos online, she made a super quick sale to collector Tim.
He's great, absolutely brilliant.
Now Sarah's on her way to show Gail how her microscope was transformed.
Hi, Gail. Hello, how are are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. And when I last saw you, you were busily throwing away an old microscope.
Yes.
Did you wonder what might happen to it after it
Well,
left?
yes, I don't know what you could do with a microscope, really. Yes, especially one that looked like that. So,
Well, luckily, I'm very well connected. And there are people who see things like that and just think, I know exactly what to do with it. And
Yes.
I took your microscope to a man called Mark, who is in Manchester.
Yes.
And I've got some pictures to show
Oh,
you of how it
brilliant.
ended up. Or, are you ready for this?
go on. That is fantastic.
Mark has utilised all those lovely bits out of your microscope to make somebody with real personality.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you approve?
I do. That's brilliant.
Well, he was. A few pictures were shared on the internet, and somebody just fell in love with him. So he's
Yes.
gone off to a new home. We've made some money for you as well. Here is £50.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad he got a new home because he looks fantastic. Yes, I'd like him as well. So, yeah, I can understand why somebody wanted him.
£50? Have you got any ideas what you might do with that?
Not really, no. Go towards new plants for the garden, perhaps. But I don't know. I'll see.
Absolute pleasure. Lovely to catch up.
And you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Mark charged Sarah £250 to create Wonky-Eyed Joe. Sarah sold him for £300, leaving a £50 profit for Gail. Sarah saved 3 unwanted items from the skip. And now, instead of being turfed, they've been totally revamped.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted with those transformations. It never fails to amaze me what can be done with a little bit of imagination and a lot of hard work.